Takže
website. Just look, just read about us. Maybe you want to join Cycling Supporters Club. Maybe you want to give a donation or just support us in any way. And here I would say that the Imperial War Museum has just as bad. And also, I must just say the whole museum is going to go back to the 40s, and we hope people will arrive dressed in World War II dresses, and the whole thing.
A bit of a flavour of the great warbirds that we used to have down this morning.
That's it. It's a mini great warbirds, and also it's actually normal price. So all you people can come in. Just pay normal everything. It's not an air display. So everything is just like a normal day, but it's a small guest.
He was an instrument training instructor and the end of his life in the Pacific Ocean. He was mostly flying and not singing anymore. But he was going from 250 to 220, reaching 15 knots. But this won't prevent any flying. But for some very old aircraft, which may be handicapped by the wind. The wind at altitude, this is interesting for a pilot because when you go up there, normally the wind increases and blowing at 20 knots and up, which is 26, 28 miles per hour and 30 miles per hour, which means that for the pilots, flying at altitude above the field will drift them to our left. But this is no problem with this. Normally we get very flyable altitude, even if sunburst won't be much problem.
Take off.
Most of us 20 years old and girls had never been given several but most of the people had no experience. And once in flight, our wing students, they are near perfection. A Spitfire will see the beauty of flight. The Saga.
3 back ones are small. Those are
Spitfires plus one lonely earth. Listen to the noise.
It's the first time that's happened here since 1968.
session running out, very small. People say that it's
my battery is not dead.
and Charlie Brown, indeed. And Charlie Brown was not a character out of a cartoon. And he did that for 3 years.
This particular aircraft is one of the currently flying by Westland. It's quite late, about 19. Boeing flying. This aircraft was actually purchased from the RAF for £10. Air Commodore Alan Wheeler bought a Mark 5 for 150, and they threw in a Mark 1 as spares for £10 to make a profit.
The Mark 1 was the lightest of all the Spitfires. It was, the engine was what, under 1,000 horsepower. Everything is beefier, well, as far as looks.
Also, there's a lot more pieces in a Hurricane. It was an earlier technology. It was steel tube held together with stainless steel plates, rivets, spun washers, and all sorts of clever things, so that it could be maintained in the field. And it followed on the tradition of the Hawker biplanes that we'll see later. The Spitfire was like the Messerschmitt 101. both fighters now registering as the engine power of the Merlin was increased, the new Spitfire was able to carry armament changes, led to the introduction of the Mark V. Here we have two Mark Vs. Oh, we have Merlin was a 27-litre engine, Griffon 36.5, but it only had a 9% increase in frontal area, so it did fit into the Spitfire. They needed some equipment juggling to get it in there, but they managed it. By the end of the war, the Spitfire's horsepower had doubled the prototype.
But what's magical about the Spitfire is this. The way it handles through the sky. The way it flies, perfection. It's not a difficult aircraft to fly, it's a friendly machine. Of course, the Griffon versions, the latest with so much power, a bit tricky, more tricky to handle, take off and landing. If there is a crosswind, you're in for
In the cockpit. And somebody once said to me, the difference between a Merlin and a Griffon engine Spitfire is a Merlin Spitfire sounds like the engine is about to fail, and a Griffon sounds like it already has. In front of us we have two Mark Vs, Mark 9 and a Mark 16.
They changed the shape of the fuselage, for instance, the Mark 16.
Teardrop canopy modification was a suggestion from Geoffrey Paul, Beaches during the Battle of Britain. He realised that we needed to do something about the visibility behind his Spitfire.
But just look at this aircraft. Look.
Because the designs that he had for the successors of the Spitfire would have seen the
Reginald Mitchell was back when he sees the person of this production gear and everything, probably 90 pounds of metal went through from the aircraft, and
equivalent of taking a B-17.
In terms of payload.
Rockets, bombs, drop tanks, napalm.
But the thing is that this was the end of the war, 1945, and already the jet age was coming, and the technology had developed, and the science and the art of designing airframes into new dimensions and where you had an ashtray and enough room to put your pack of cigarettes and your zipper in it. And because they were flying, 6 hours, 7 hours long missions, and very expensive, huge classification.
Because it's very, very fast and it's very, very agile. Zero means something as a revelation to the Americans because it was very lightly built. They had relatively low-powered engines and they needed to get the maximum possible performance out of the aeroplane. While American aircraft were getting heavier and heavier with things like the Wildcat and the Hellcat, the decision was made to lighten it up with a lightweight airframe with a great big engine. And of course it's very very manoeuvrable.
Well, in fact, a Bearcat is nothing but a set of surfaces, ailerons, elevator, rudder, mated to a small cockpit and a huge engine. Pete Kinsey is flying the Bearcat. Kinsey is the chief pilot for the fighter collection based here in Nashville.
Next, I think we have some horsemen.
We have the horsemen and they're...
Oh, we have a good horse there. Fooled them by being
And what's next is probably more they go back. They call themselves point of technology, aerodynamics department, and we invented the laminar flow wing. Listen.
Run out of steam as it got high, and by that stage of the war, dogfighting was already getting to be very high altitude and didn't have the necessary power to get up there. So the decision was made to try it with a Merlin. I think they borrowed one from a boat fighter at Rolls-Royce at Hucknall, nailed it onto the front of the Mustang, and, well, quite simply, a legend was born.
The thing is that it's, again, the name Cadillac of the Skies is really the best way to describe it. Nevertheless, it's the first aircraft with
designed to get up quickly, shoot bombers, whereas the Mustang was designed to be low drag, so it would help the range. And it was packed full of fuel, so it couldn't last.
For instance, no modern Mustang pilot ever uses fuel in the back of the fuselage because it will destroy some of the fortress still alive in Europe.
Oh, 70,000 casualties.
This part of England during World War II was something could be described as a big, huge aerodrome covered with herds of B-17s.
And of course the most famous documentary of the time, the original Memphis Belle made by William Wyler, was filmed just a few miles away at Bassingbourn.
Because it was not that easy to navigate. And picture yourself in the nose of B-17, flying in daytime, high altitude. Outside it's hopefully cold. You're barely alive because with big fur jacket on you and maybe a jacket. And you have to use your fingers to try to draw lines on a map and calculate and Lisbon, as far as Lisbon, or a dragon. And one strange.
Nyt ollaan Kastellissa. Ja nyt kun ollaan Kastellissa.
Well, as always, a magnificent sight when it arrives at an air show. The wonderful Avro Lancaster from the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight based up at Coningsby. 4 Merlins and just such an evocative shape. Again, like Sally B, operated as a tribute to the volunteer air crews that gave their lives during World War II.
The Royal Air Force is different from many other air forces in that it operates an historical flight. The Royal Navy too, but it's a very British attitude towards history. And seen from somebody who's not British, there's a bit of jealousy, of envy, because keeping such ships alive, and not only in museums, is really fitting. Super.
Lancaster, of course, was born out of failure. It plays Manchester, the Avro Manchester, that was powered by 2 Rolls-Royce Vulture engines that were so problematic. They kept failing. Unfortunately, it gets the hangars at the time, but to hang on 4 Merlins once again. These were borrowed from the Beaufighter production line, and the aircraft was incredibly transformed into one of the great aircraft of all time.
Once again, think about 20 years old kids. Most of them had never driven a car. Some of them have. Even for somebody who flies modern equipment, Boeing 777s or Airbuses of all kinds, when you are under the belly of the Lancaster, it's a towering giant. Just like those big, huge sail there, and the Lancaster is exactly that.
Of course, this aeroplane operated by the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight up at Coningsby. I was once let into the secret of how much they spend, and believe me, it's not very much. They do an incredibly good job on a relatively limited budget to keep this aeroplane going for as long as possible. It's an absolutely magnificent sight. It's not just much an aeroplane, it's an icon.
And where is that? Where is that?
Toronto. The wind blows it, almost slows it down.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've let you listen to the wonderful sound of that 110 horsepower rotary engine. Some of you may even be lucky enough to smell the whiff of castor oil as Michael Carlson brings the Fokker triplane. But also saying this is one of the few aircraft that historically has operated more original aircraft. There were only 320 Fokker triplanes made. It was not actually as successful as some people would have to think. Very, very maneuverable, as you've seen Michael demonstrating. It was actually quite slow, and it was not really a match for some of the aircraft that were coming in, such as the SE5. And of course, the Camel was almost equal when it came to throwing it around the sky.
The thing is that if you ask me a final question, why is it that Manfred von Richthofen was such a successful ace? Well, you might have a part of the answer looking at Michael Carlson's demo on the Fokker Dreidecker. Nobody really thought that this Venetian blind of an aircraft would be capable of turning so tight and performing this kind of aerobatics and having such a rate of climb. Look at it climbing. And now you have the answers why Manfred von Richthofen, the Red Baron, was really fond of the Dreidecker and wanted to go to war only this type of aircraft. Now we have an answer, including the fact that the engine, the rotary engine, equipping this aircraft is not making things easier when you're flying it, because the big, huge gyroscope of this engine turns in front of your feet, and the nose of the aircraft prevents it from being to the right as it is to the left. It's quite easy. In fact, it's a very good aircraft turning to the left, because the gyroscope will help you turn to the left, while turning to the right, moving to the right, is nearly nevertheless, this very inspired flight by Michael Carlson demonstrate the Fokker triplane capabilities much better than anything that can be seen anywhere in the world. This is the absolute Fokker triplane demo. Was were traveling also 15, 18 at a time. In this big machines flying at today's highway speed would take them nearly a week to go from Frankfurt to Bali. They were flying in the daytime. At night they were sleeping. Mostly comfortable with the full current and very early morning after everybody. And they start again for 8 and 10. Contemporary good thing. And weekends.
Evolution, P40 from the P36.
People who flew all of them say that probably the best of them all is the first one. And by the way, its pilot is still working. So this is really history of the sky. It's not only old machinery being rebuilt. Spitfires. P-51s are Cadillac of the skies, whatever. But a P-40 is something else. Picture yourself taxiing one with arms on the side of your cockpit.
Wyneczko.
This was the end of the line before the jet frame. They were designed by the same team, some responsible for the biplanes just between those biplanes and these high speeds.
By the middle of the war, the Hurricane had been classed. She was to be very successful as a ground attack aircraft. It's a much thinner wing, either on the Centaurus or the Navy Sabre. Towards the end of the war, the idea was and the quality, the flying qualities that it has. first person to shoot down
the Kangaroo.
No, they didn't fly them out there, but he was Royal Navy, so
Okay,
must give him credit.
Yeah, sure.
He's coming on with this. Oh, this is the other one. This is Griff Skotka, flying the Royal Navy Historic Flight.
To escalate the clouds, nothing's better than Fury. Mamma mia, get the speed.
This is another of the Centaurus engine ones. This aircraft was overhauled by Kennett Aviation down in North Weald after it was sent over for the Royal Navy Historic Flight. They also have a single seat.
So this is the moment where this guy here belongs to the Navy history. Just like the RAF has a Battle of Britannia going flight, the Royal Navy has a history flight. And industry by helping to having this kind of
Public service announcement. The BWOC please return to the
and big for a mountain. And look at the view. This is what
A lot of them jump out.
it's a target. Pilot, the second man is what? Radio navigator, probably.
Look at this kid
And tail is the gunner. The gunner, if you look closely,
You watch this big one.
so high above you. With a big torpedo under the fuselage.
As a navigator.
This kind of
Of course.
flying these machines.
Look up behind you, buddy. There's a Fury coming.
Now we're going to have only 1900, and so he was 39 when the war came, and at 39 he was considered too old to be a combat pilot. But as he was a famous man, a famous writer, he had good friends here and there, in circles everywhere, and he did what he thought was necessary to be authorized to fly combat again. And he emigrated, he took a boat from Lisbon to New York, migrated to New York for a while. Spent 2 years in the United States, wrote a book. This was at the end of the war, at the end of the war. Gracious. If you look at it from some angles, it's a team where having the pleasure of receiving here, that's for the first
I'll get a little bit.
Red Bull team coming from us. Corsair was designed in 1937-38 at the start of the think tanks about this battery. Edison came in and designed this, which is probably one of the most beautiful shapes. Before its time, when you look at it at certain angles, it's a stealth machine. This aircraft was designed in 1935, flew in 1936, broke all speed records, and became a long-range fighter, fighter bomber, and also a long-range wreckage. Inspiring as hell. We are back in 1943, and Antoine Saint-Exupéry, one of the most gifted writers of 20th century, a very rich man who lives in a fantastic house, 4 stories house in New York. He could stay there, and he fights his way back to a cockpit because he says, if I don't write, if I don't fight, I don't have the right to write. So he became a spying pilot again. And you think that humor choosing their own sides. So he left Corsica, climbed up. Outside the cockpit, it's minus whatever. It's higher than the Everest. And you're in there, 44 years old, shaking in your furs, and you try to aim your cameras where you have to aim them. And whatever happened afterwards to Saint-Exupéry, you'll never for sure. But he never landed They've been recognized as real pieces of this aircraft, but no one will really know what happened to the class of wings and stars and of those true things about the miracle of flight and what it is to be an aviator. Hats off, gentlemen.
Another triplane of the
What's going on?
The beginning of it.
shooting down. No, Albert Hall was there. God, wasn't even touched. It was Albert Hall flew But back to World War I, because the development was so quick at the start of the war with aircraft that were barely capable of 90 miles an hour. We had aircraft that were powered by about half by or two, sometimes even 4 machine guns. We developed ground attack, we developed strategic and tactical bombing, we developed flying training that we spoke about this morning, we developed close air support.
That's how it started. Can you imagine today's world without the Allies? It was all started. Technology, strange work, science, art of designing flying machines was developed.
Both of these aircraft had 2 machine guns. The U-boat had one above the wing, one on the forward fuselage flying through the propeller. The triplane had 2 on the forward fuselage. And that was really the standard armament on it.
By the end of it. Now, hats off to the French Air Force. Sadly, because of the events of the war, Battle of France was and what the Battle of Britain was a resounding, as I mentioned, fought by very good fighter pilots, French fighter pilots flying this. If war had started in 1936,